On today's show, we head to the Pembroke High School Art Show, talk with community advocate Lisa Drennan on our Open Here podcast, hear original poetry from our own Tiff Phillips, check in with a few more of the folks who checked in with us at Plymouth Pride, and talk about upcoming things to do in our South Shore towns. We're glad you're here. Let's get started. High School's got talent and showcases the diverse skills and artistic expression of its students each year with its annual art show. We went on the local scene to see it.
Hi, my name is Brody Graham.
Oh, hello, my name is Andrea Morris.
Hi, I'm Liam Brennan.
Oh, hi, I'm Hayden. I'm a senior. I'll tell you a little bit about my art. Here I have a trading card piece and you can flip them and it's very interactive. A lot of my pieces that I use here are really interactive. Like over here I have a portrait of myself and my mood that day. I was feeling very tired but also really happy, so I used shades of purple, blue, and some tired but happy colors. I think I incorporated it well. It's very interactive, you can touch the textures, has a bunch of newspaper in the back that you can feel.
Basically, the main creative process that I follow is I'll find something akin to a reference image for what I want to work off of, and I'll look around, I'll see what aspects do I like, what do I dislike. Sometimes I'll draw up a rough sketch of what I want to accomplish just to get some kind of visible, tangible thing to look at. More often than not, I'll wind up going through multiple versions to design something. This was the first version of this, and then I'll be able to test different things. My first thought was, okay, how do I combine these? Because at the time, the printer I was working on was too small. I first tested with hot glue, which worked relatively well. Then the next time I was like, okay, I know hot glue works fine, but I don't think it's the most stable, so here you're able to see that I welded it together using soldering iron, basically. This I haven't yet sanded. This is going to be the chest plate. I designed just a logo type thing, just something to identify the armor, and something to differentiate it from other ones online.
A lot of my art's, there's a lot of variety here. I would say my favorite part is the portraits I've done, some of my digital work, and stuff I've done freshman year and sophomore year are my strongest pieces. This one I did sophomore year, and this one I did freshman year, and these two I've done over the summer for my AP class, and also for my sustained investigation. I've drawn my sister a bunch of times. I would say that's also a big part of my wall. I like sketching more with graphite and charcoal and everything like that. Art means a release. Whatever you want to draw, you put the best into that, and it's just a feeling that you have, and then you release it onto paper.
I've been a part of digital arts, taking digital arts classes with Miss Lazarus. Here's some of my artwork. Most of this comes from my intro to 3D animation, this one, and all the ones running around the side. There's a common kind of theme of aviation in some of them. I designed some jets and some planes over here. This is my cityscape. In the video, I made a full video of this. There's a person hang gliding through the city. And so that was really fun to try and animate. It was an interesting challenge to model the whole city and then get through programming in the motion path of the camera. That's really what it is. I just think digital arts is really fun. Some of these works are a lot more challenging than others. Some of them, like this one, just this one sign right here, I banged out in a single day, literally a single afternoon. So fairly proud of it. I'm grateful to Miss Lazarus. I've really just enjoyed digital arts over these last 3 years, so thank you so much.
Farmers markets are a source of fresh fruits, vegetables, and other locally sourced products that can be the foundation of healthy eating. But for seniors on a fixed or low income, it's not always in the budget. The Kingston Council on Aging has just announced that seniors may be eligible for farmers market coupons. To qualify, you must be 60 years of age or older and have a monthly income of $2,248 or less for a household of one, or $3,041 or less for a household size of two. Coupons can be used for fruits, veggies, herbs, and honey. Farmers market coupons are limited and are distributed on a first-come, first-served basis. For information on how to get your coupons, call Outreach Coordinator Martha Shanahan at 781-831-6044. Buzzards Bay Park is the scene for Cape Cod Canal Day on September 16th. From 11 a.m. to 6 p.m., this annual summertime celebration will include a cornhole tournament, food trucks, entertainment, an arts and crafts fair, and the Cape Cod Canal Day 5K race. This event is free and family friendly. For more information, visit capecodcanalchamber.org. For over 38 years, Lisa Drennan has dedicated her life to supporting individuals with diverse abilities. Through her organization, Merge Diverse Abilities Inclusion Consulting, she has kept that mission going by providing recreational, community, and human service programs with ways to ensure that community members with diverse abilities are welcomed, engaged, and successful. In this two-part interview on our podcast, Open Here, Tiff Phillips sits down with Lisa to talk about her life, her work, and how inclusion benefits us all.
All right, I'm with Lisa Drennan, who is the founder and president of Merge Diverse Abilities Inclusion Consulting. Welcome, so happy to have you.
Thanks, a pleasure to be here. Thanks for having me.
Of course. So what's your background? Where did you grow up?
Yeah, so I'm a townie of Pembroke. I'm officially a townie. I was born there. My family moved from Dorchester right around the time just before I was born. I have 5 brothers, and we all grew up on Pelham Street in Pembroke, Mass. And I graduated, it was at the time, Silver Lake, and was just very involved in the town and the school and everything that I could be involved in. So, yeah, just born and raised in Pembroke and still live there today.
You love it, that area?
I love it.
Yeah,
I love
it's
our town, and I feel very committed to just making it a wonderful place that everyone can be happy.
So you work on behalf of people with disabilities. Did you always figure out you were going to be on that path, or did that path find you?
Yeah, it's interesting. Let's see. That's a good question. I grew up with a good family friend had a daughter who had intellectual developmental disabilities. So I grew up as a little girl growing up with her, and she was, somewhat like a cousin, right? Just really close to the family. I never recognized anything but positivity around her, right? And so I think that was a good example for me to grow up around, that treating somebody with respect. She was part of the family, and she had value to add to, our little family community of friends and family. And I think that set a good tone for why I first jumped into working in the field. I was 17 years old, and a friend was working at New England Village in Pembroke. It's a residential community for adults with intellectual developmental disabilities. And just hearing that, oh, you can work there? That's fabulous. So I started working there, and ended up 30 years of my career being at New England Village in all different positions there. So I think that maybe the path was there for me, and I was meant to do this work, right? So I loved it. I remember my first job, at the time, we were just called staff. Now it's called direct support professional, a much more professional title. But for me, I just thought, this is fantastic. I get to do, go out on activities and bring folks to do things that they love, and I'm getting paid for this. This is amazing. So that was my youth, growing up there. And I eventually rose to be a senior executive position there, senior leadership position. It was the director of the Solar Wellness Center that we built on that campus. And it was, really focused on recreation, things that people loved: swimming, swimming, aquatics, music, enrichment opportunities. So that was a good chunk of my career, 30 years of it.
Wow.
Yeah.
Now, do you think that's like made you a better person? Do you think working with folks with, diverse abilities has made you, really made your character better?
I think what it has done is helped me to listen better and to try to see every person as an individual, right? And try to focus on their strengths. I think that's what it really had done. There certainly were times in raising my kids that strategies that I used and the patience that you would engage were very applicable and helped me in my parenting as well, right?
So that led you to Merge. What led you to that journey?
Yeah, so it's really interesting. So as I mentioned, 30 years working just with folks with disabilities alongside peers who we were all there to support this population, right? And then I came across a job opportunity. I was working out at the Y, and somebody said, "Did you see this opportunity?" And it was the Social YMCA's Director of Inclusion. So I started reading it, and I was like, oh, this sounds really cool. Maybe this is my next step. And it was a huge aha moment. I started working there, and now I'm teaching the rest of the world, air quotes here, the rest of the world, right? The other side of the bridge, so to speak. Teaching camp counselors, somebody who's a yoga instructor, someone who works in the health and well-being floor, the front desk, and the preschool. I'm teaching them how to be more inclusive in their practices, how to welcome in and engage and support community members with diverse abilities into their existing settings. And that was a huge aha moment for me, because for 30 years, it had just been us, those of us who worked within with this population, helping them to try to get out into the community. But that huge aha moment was, wait, if we don't teach the community, right, how to be more comfortable and how to interact and engage and support folks with disabilities, it's always going to be a one-way street, right? It's going to be this treadmill that we're constantly on. And that huge aha moment for me was what made me think of starting Merge. I had actually the YUSA, the YMCA of USA, the headquarters, had asked me to co-lead a diverse abilities working group, right? So a resource platform for Ys across the country. And when other Ys would call me, someone from Indiana or Sacramento or down in Florida, and then say, hey, Lisa, how would you do this? Or we're thinking of starting this type of support system. Or we have this issue here. Can you help me navigate this? I could do it off the top of my head. It was just this incredible background that I had, right? And it really, that was my moment to say, I want to do this. I love what I did for the Y, but I want to bring this to other organizations and communities, locally, nationally, internationally, right? Just because I felt like no one else was doing this, teaching the other side of the bridge, right? How to be more comfortable. Right. Yeah.
So who's your primary focus now? Is it everybody? Or
Yeah, sure. So a good amount of my work is focused on recreation and camp organizations.
Okay.
Places like YMCAs or camps or Boys and Girls Clubs, right? JCCs, any organization like that offers recreation, social enrichment opportunities for the general community. Though that's my primary target. However, about 2 years into Merge, I started in 2018. I was asked to come back to some agencies that support folks with disabilities, and could you do a presentation for us? And I thought, oh, this is just as important. So I do go back to my roots, and I work with individuals with disabilities, their families, and the agencies that support them. And then we tackle it from the other side. How do you access the community meaningfully and in inclusive ways? So there's a lot of education about what inclusion is and what it isn't, right? So that's really important to note that difference. So I work on both sides of the bridge, so to speak, but primarily in that social recreation area.
Right. What is inclusion?
Good question.
Yeah.
I love, anytime I can answer this question.
You're ready.
Yes. So inclusion is when you have an existing organization, group, business, team, club, any group of people that are, or an organization that's offering something for the general population, right? And inclusion is when they work to learn how to welcome and to engage and support our community members with disabilities. I'll tell you what inclusion's not. Inclusion is not a special program for special people. Even if it happens in the community, right? Oh, well, we go to the bowling alley, but we all bowl together, just this group home of folks with disabilities with no interactions with other folks. That's not inclusion.
Right.
It's a specialized activity or an adaptive, or some people might even say segregated activity, right? School systems where kids with learning or other disabilities are separated is not inclusion, even if they're in the same school with their peers. If they are not actively and intentionally side by side with their peers, meaningfully participating and bringing value to the group, it's not inclusion.
Absolutely,
Yeah.
totally. So I need to ask you this question because when I worked on and off for human services for a very long time, 10 years, and in that time I noticed that there was kind of an increase of not only advocacy but self-advocacy. Can you maybe speak on that a little bit? Well, why is that so important?
Right. So, I mean, if you go back in history, not too far along, right, where folks were, sent away to institutions or institutionalized, and the direction of their lives was dictated by the people who lived or ran those institutions. And then when deinstitutionalization or helping folks to be back members of our community through group homes or other living situations, then the rise of self-advocacy started to come about, right? And more so, I think, if I'm correct, like the 90s, it became in 2000s, around there, you started hearing that word. What does that mean? And to me, it's crucial that we take, another word that is being used, person-centered planning, right? Or self-directed. So someone themselves is directing how their lives go. And I know when I first started working at New England Village, and this was a trend in every place in the 80s, that, folks lived in a group home and everybody did everything as a home, right? Or as an entity, right? They even worked at a sheltered workshop, right? Where they would all take a bus and go to a workshop and work. And that didn't lead for a lot of individuality. What does somebody really want to do? What are their talents? So that push towards it, and especially more 2010 and now, 2020s and into today, that is what's driving, hopefully, most agencies and organizations are being driven by that person-centered planning, that self-direction, so that they have a voice and we discover what gifts does somebody have, what talents, what would they like to do. Right? And then the direction is then formulated from that, gathering that data and having them be at the core and the center.
Right.
That's important.
Taking responsibility for their own lives.
Yeah. And that's so much wrapped into inclusion. I mean, inclusion isn't right? It's about welcoming in individuals into what they love. They want to, they're interested in a yoga class, right? Or be part of a book club, or really into NASCAR racing, right? Then groups or organizations that offer that should welcome them in to existing, right? And that's because they're choosing, and that's how we should be approaching it moving forward.
To find out more about Lisa Drennan, visit mergeconsulting.org. Retirement is something many look forward to as a time for freedom to do the things you love with people you love. But it can also be anxiety-inducing to think about life without a paycheck. If you're nearing or entering retirement, the Pembroke Public Library has a program that might be beneficial to you. On September 12th, you are invited to What Happens After the Paycheck Stop, a retirement income primer. In this 1-hour presentation, financial advisor Victoria Robillard will take the time to explore with you how to budget for retirement expenses, examine potential sources of income, discuss strategies to provide for your goals, and address potential risks. This event is free and open to all. No registration is required. You are invited to visit the Duxbury Art Complex Museum on September 24th for a traditional Japanese tea ceremony. Located at the museum's tea house, also known as Sho Fun An or Wind in the Pines, you'll experience the ritual practice of preparing and drinking tea, a symbol of Japanese formality and spiritual aestheticism. This event takes place from 2 to 3:30 p.m. All are welcome, and registration is not required, but you are welcomed on a first-come, first-served basis. Visit the Art Complex Museum's website for more details. Here's Tiff Phillips with the last installment of Pop-Up on the local scene, Plymouth Pride.
Hi again. In this last installment of Pop-Up on the local scene, Plymouth Pride, we talked to festival attendees to get their take on why Pride events are important, advice they'd have for people who are just coming out for the first time, and what it means to be part of this vibrant and beautifully diverse community. My new friend JD. JD, can you tell me why it's important for you and what it means to you to be part of the LGBTQIA+ community?
The LGBTQIA+ community is really important to me because it makes me feel at home, and they just make me feel so accepted and welcome. And they're so nice to like literally everybody, and I just can't like stop talking about them half the time.
Can I ask if you have any advice for people who are just coming out for the first time?
It's definitely scary. I came out to my mom in a restaurant, actually, and I started bawling my eyes out, and the poor waitress came over and she was like, "Do you want something more to drink?" And I'm like, "Oh." But definitely a way to help is breathing, like using your supports, definitely, like friends, supportive family members, and if someone doesn't support you, leave them. They're not worth it. They're like, if they don't like you for you, they're gone. Get them out.
I'm with Loki and Faith, my new friends over here. Can you tell me a little bit about why you think events like this are important to the community?
I think it represents the fact that there is a community out there. I remember when I was first discovering my own sexuality and gender that I knew that there was people out there, but it was one of those things where it's like, if you don't see it, it's hard to like believe it. So it's very important for these events to happen, not only to, celebrate what we have achieved, but also give people who don't have a welcoming community around them a chance to see that they are here, that everyone else is here, that there is a place for them in the world, and that we can continue to fight for what we need for our basic human rights.
What does it mean for you to be a part of this community?
It means a lot to me to be part of this community. It is a very fun, open, loving community, so you can really just feel that while I'm here. And sometimes I really do need that in my life, that feeling the love and everything like that. So yes, that's what it's like for me to be in this community.
Can you tell us why it's important to have festivals like Plymouth Pride?
So that people can come together and know that they're not alone here. Everyone here has something in common, and you can feel safe being together and just knowing that someone else knows what you're going through and you don't have to go through it all alone, especially with everything going on in the world right now. It can be scary, and it's nice to just have people who get it.
What does it mean for you to be part of this community, be part of the LGBTQIA+ community?
One of the things that was always important to me about it is when I joined or realized I was part of the community, I had so many people who came and looked out for me, and now I can look out for younger people who have reached out and need just someone to listen to them and help them feel seen and taken care of by someone who gets it.
I'm with Lily, KT, and Romy, my new friends. So can you tell me why Pride events like this are super important to the community?
You wanna go first, babe?
Yeah, I feel like Pride events are super important to the community because, there's so many people that feel hated for just being who they are and aren't celebrated enough. We're just human beings, and we deserve the right to be here and be loved just the same. So I feel like these events are important because we get to show that we're just regular people having a fun day,
And what does it mean to you to be part of this community?
For me, it's really important because I grew up really Christian and not feeling like I was accepted being myself. So being able to come to things like this make me feel more accepted and like it's okay to be who I want to be.
And if you guys could give advice to people who are coming out for the first time, what would you say?
I think I'd say, and it's scary and hard, but it's definitely a matter, like be unapologetically yourself, truly. Find like solidarity in your community and like people that support you and like are giving you that freedom to be that person that you want to be.
And I would also say do it when you feel safe and when you're ready. Don't let anyone force you.
Yeah, 100%. You don't want to be that person that is forced out, because then who knows if something bad could happen. You want to take your time and be sure that you're ready for that, but also make sure that you have some sort of support system too, because it's definitely going to be hard, but it's worth it.
Thanks, Tiff. Are you a car enthusiast with some time to kill on a Sunday morning? Well, rev up your whip and head over to the Rebel and Rod's Car Show on Sundays from 7 to 10 a.m. From now until mid-November, the East Bay Grill parking lot will set the stage for a collection of beautifully crafted and maintained cars. The event is family and pet-friendly and free, but Rebels and Rods does accept donations that benefit Plymouth County Family Support, Inc. For more information, visit the rebelsandrods.com website or find them on Facebook. New smartphones come out every year, and the use of them can be challenging. That's where the Kingston COA comes in. On August 30th, join the COA and computer technology specialist and trainer John Kolstad for a smartphone class. In this 2-hour session, John will help you improve your knowledge and build your confidence so that your iPhone or Android makes more sense. The class will cover how to manage apps, texting, internet browsing, and so much more. A class handout will be given to you so you can take notes. Attendees are asked to make sure your phone is charged and ready to go. This program is free, but please register by calling the COA at 781-585-0512. Next, we continue with America's Hometown Laureates Plymouth Poetry Festival. Here's the local scene's very own Tiff Phillips in a reading of her original work.
The next poet I've had the pleasure to listen to, and she makes me feel something every single time she speaks. So ladies and gentlemen, get ready to feel something and welcome Tiff Phillips.
Hi. They let me out of the studio today. I work for PAC TV, so they let me escape for a little while so I could come hang with you guys. Thank you for having me, appreciate it. Lately, I've been working a lot on mental health related poetry. I think since the pandemic, we've all kind of been more open to talking about it, which is really nice and very refreshing for everyone to not feel so alone. So this is called Mirror. When she looks at the mirror, she sees a face comprised of freckles and scars, redness and marks that make up the history of a human who's done some things, felt some things, regretted some things, but girls, getting there. She's so close, she can almost taste the peace, feel it on her fingertips, and breathe it into her lungs. But other times, she also sees him. This man who's scattered amongst the pages of watercolor of feelings amassed, collected, and stored for past, present, and future viewing. He, who's never been able to afford himself the opportunity to get out of his own head, who's made it his goal to see himself as an illness rather than a whole person, a man who's had the fortitude to make misery of his life's work, show his scars like a purple heart, lets people know that he is wounded, that his past makes up for his mistakes, that he can error and error again and again with no consequences. He sees no reality, feels sad for me so that I can go on living my life recklessly in a way that suits me. Let me drink, let me rant, let me tell you about my childhood, let me tell you why I'm so misunderstood. Let me tell you the tales I've spun in my mind that I am unloved, unwanted, and unkept, that I am a making of other people's demons. I feel nothing and everything all at once. I slam, I break, I punch walls, I shatter because life has shattered me. I am my own demons and those demons own me. My sleep comes and goes, distorting, twisting, bending my reality so everything is painted as a dream. I spend days contemplating, fantasizing how others would feel if I left, if there would be a hole somewhere where I used to be, and quickly realize the space would be filled in with good things, stuffed Christmas stockings and trips to Disney, not just what's left of me. And the thought has entered my mind 1,000 times that people are hard. They're hard. And none of them can be trusted, especially not with me. And then there's red and there's blue and there's nothing in between. There's so much hate outside these walls manifesting, brewing. I taste its bitterness. In here it's safe for now. Until night comes and life flashes back to me. I see punches, I see blows, I see yelling, I see death. I see my eyes filled with red, mixed with the talking heads of CNN. I can't breathe, I can't sleep, I pace, I fall apart. I put on the coffee maker to brew at 3 a.m. I see the sun rising and it's not for me. And when I wipe this fog from the mirror, I see a face. I see my children with this face, the people who love me the most, and sometimes I think they've lost me already, and that I am a ghost of not who I was, but who I was meant to be. Is my soul even in my body? Has it already left? Am I still here? I don't know, Daddy, but it'd be great to see you again. This one I wrote about my wife. We are travel companions. We just considered each other like 12-year-olds who pay bills. This is called Travel Buddy. There's something about the road, your fingers tapping the steering wheel to the tunes of Ani DeFranco, the Mountain Goats, and Billy Joel. We have one home on land and the other on wheels. This life we have built in your violently blue neon car, the highway, our church, bags of snacks, a digital stack of playlists, a couple of big gulps between us. My hand slips out the window and glides through the air, letting the wind take it where it wants to go, as we fill up the empty conversation lulls with our off-key singing, the world's worst musical duo. My DJ co-piling skills on point, except when I forget to put up the easy pass and you make fun of me for sleeping on the job. A smile I'll always savor. I receive your sass with grace only since you'll be probably getting it later. Tourist traps, general stores looking for the world's most perfect mustard, billboards whizzing by telling us to repent, laughing that they hate us because they're jealous of our fun. Chatting with little old ladies behind registers, hopefully she'll tell her friend Martha that she's met this nice lesbian couple from Boston. Waterfalls in Ithaca are beautiful, but everything floods when it rains. Buc-ee's has the best bathrooms. Upstate New York has haunted houses that will make your toes curl. Sleepy Hollow has nothing but a silly statue and convenience store t-shirts. There are no peaches at Peach World. New York City at Christmas, watching the lights dance at Saks, heading over to Rhode Island, carefully trying not to embarrass ourselves, getting into kayaks, reckless gator boat tours. Just give me more. I want to go to every state, every country, every universe, as long as you're next to me, my life buddy. Talking about the rest of our life we have in store. Sometimes you lay in bed, iPad perched, kitten laying on your chest. Do you want to go? My favorite lead-in. I know the rest. Just a tap of the button, and it'll be weekend. Thank you very much.
The Prison Book Program in Quincy is a 50-year-old nonprofit organization committed to sending free, high-quality books and reading materials to people in prisons and jails across the country. On September 14th, the Duxbury Free Library invites you to meet the nonprofit's executive director, Kelly Brotzman, as she tells you about PBP and why these services matter, how her 20 years of teaching higher education to inmates has led her to lead this organization. The program begins at 6 p.m. Register via the Duxbury Free Library website. The Plymouth Public Library Annual Arts and Crafts Festival has become a summer highlight, attracting over 3,000 visitors for family fun in the late summer sun. On September 9th and 10th, the festival returns for its 4th year for tasty bites, live music, family activities, and over 70 juried artisans from all over the South Shore. For more information, visit the library's website. Donating blood is easy, fast, convenient, and one of the most selfless things we can do for our fellow humans. On August 28th, join the Pembroke COA and the American Red Cross in the fight to save lives by participating in the COA's blood drive from 11 a.m. to 4 p.m. Sign up for your spot by calling the COA at 781-294-8220. And that's what's good and good to know on the local scene this week. Thank you for watching. We'll see you next time.
If you've enjoyed this video by The Local Scene, please give it a thumbs up and hit the subscribe button. Thank you for watching.